Jurgen Klopp's top 10 Liverpool signings. And at number 10, I've gone with the Colombian sensation, Luis Diaz, and what a signing he was. Klopp signed him from Porto in January 2022 and he hit the ground running straight away. He was arguably the key figure that pushed us on towards that quadruple charge. We were so close to winning the quad and I think Luis Diaz played a massive role in that. When he came in, he injected that impetus, he injected that energy, he played with such dynamism. Every time he got the ball, it was direct, it was quick, and he would go at his fullback, and he was absolutely brilliant on that left flank. Mane played centrally as the 9, and Salah played on the right, and what a front three we had. And not only did he slot right into the first team straight away, he added that extra attacking depth. Jota and Firmino were able to come off the bench and impact games because Diaz was starting, whereas before we'd only have one of those elite forwards on the bench. With Diaz in there, we had 2. He was absolutely brilliant, Diaz. What a signing he was. And yes, he has had injuries here and there, and yes, he has been inconsistent with his goal scoring numbers, but boy, what a player he was at his best. And even now, he's still showing signs of that form that he showed when he first joined us. He is so good. He is so good to watch. And at number 9, I have gone with Mr. Clinical himself, Diogo Jota. And if we would have had him this season in the title running, we would have won the league because he does not squander easy chances. His conversion rate's through the roof. He can score with his left foot, he can score with his right foot, he can score with his head. He's an intelligent player and he is efficient in and around the box. A brilliant striker. And when we signed him at first, I was thinking, well, is he really good enough? Can he challenge Salah, Firmino and Mane? Can he push those front three? Or is he just another Divock Origi, another Minamino, another Shaqiri who will just come off the bench here and there and impact games? But boy, was I wrong. Straight in from the get-go, he was absolutely brilliant, scoring that hat-trick away against Atalanta in his first season. And away at the Etihad, Klopp was forced to play all 4. Salah, Firmino, Mane and Jota, all 4 of them in that match because he couldn't afford to drop one because Jota was playing that well. And he has made 145 appearances for Liverpool over the 4 seasons. And that is quite a lot considering he seems to pick up injuries what feels like every few months. But nevertheless, a brilliant signing. And considering I was sceptical at first when we signed him for over £40 million, now looking back on it, it was money well spent because Mr. Clinical, Diogo Jota, has been a brilliant buy for Liverpool. In at number 8, I have gone with Joel Matip, and what a signing he was. First and foremost, he cost Jurgen Klopp absolutely nothing, and 2, he was a brilliant addition next to Virgil van Dijk. He complemented Van Dijk so perfectly. Van Dijk was the passer, he was the leader. Van Dijk would spray the ball out to the left, out to the right. He would play that switch to Salah almost every game, whereas Matip would pick up the ball, dribble past a few players, lay it off to a forward player, and sometimes even continue his run and score himself. Against Leeds, I remember he got the ball, he dribbled out from the back, played it to Salah, Salah played it back to him, and he scored. Like, what kind of centre-back does that? Joel Matip does. He was a brilliant dribbler of the ball. I've never seen a centre-back dribble quite like him, and he was a brilliant addition to our team. And even though he wasn't as good as Van Dijk, and I'm not comparing him to Van Dijk, but there were parts during his Liverpool career where he was almost on par with the Dutchman. I'd say the second half of 18-19 was very close to Van Dijk's level, and that was Van Dijk at his absolute peak. And during 21-20-22, he was absolutely brilliant too, and you could compare him to Van Dijk during that campaign as well. What a defender Matip was, what a buy he was for absolute nothing, and he is a unique centre-back who we will probably never really see in a Liverpool shirt again. In at number 7, I have gone with Jorginho Wijnaldum, and what a buy he was. He cost in and around £30 million. Klopp signed him from Newcastle in 2016, and he was just Mr. Consistent. He would very rarely, if ever, drop below a 7 out of 10 on the football pitch. He was that consistent. He was a brilliant player in the midfield. He'd press effectively. He'd pop up with a goal now and then. He was defensively sound. He was a decent passer of the ball, and he was brilliant at retaining possession. He was just a superb player. He could play in the 6. He could play as part of a double pivot. He could play as an 8. He even played as a false 9 away at the Nou Camp back in 18-19, showing how he can sort of understand so many roles within a Klopp system and showing how effective he can be for Liverpool. Like I said, he wasn't the most easy on the eye, so he didn't attract the most fans and he didn't gain the most plaudits. But since he left Liverpool, people realised how much we missed him because he was never injured. He played every game, and like I said, he played every game to at least a 7 out of 10. He was Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent, Mr. I never get injured, and we really do miss him. And like I said, we never really replaced him. Yes, we've got players like Jones and Elliott who do a similar job, but they're not the level of Wijnaldum. And him, Henderson and Fabinho were the ultimate workman-like midfield during those peak years under Klopp. In at number 6, I had to go with Andy Robertson because we signed this man for an initial fee of £8 million. Did you hear me right? £8 million. That is so cheap for probably the best left back in the world during those peak years under Klopp. He was such a good footballer. The way he would go up and down the flank all game, he'd go from left back to left wing to left back to left wing, bombing up and down the flank, whipping balls into the box, getting assists, and he would very rarely get beaten by his winger as well. That's how good he was. He was defensively solid and he was a cracking player going forward. Mourinho said he was tired from watching Andy Robertson bomb up and down the flank all game, and he was a truly brilliant buy. I remember against City, back in 17-18, in the 4-3, a brilliant moment that Liverpool fans will remember. Maybe not so much rival fans, but Liverpool fans will remember this. Robertson didn't have the ball, he was in the left back position and he just pressed. And he pressed each City player and they kept on playing the ball back and back until they reached Otamendi and Ederson over in City's left back area. And it was just truly brilliant. The way he just pressed and pressed and pressed and sort of ran diagonally across the pitch, pressing the City players was truly phenomenal. It just epitomised Andy Robertson's work ethic. What a player he was. And at that point, people were debating, is he better than Alberto Moreno? And boy, did he prove his worth. Because Moreno was good going forward, arguably had a better left foot than Andy Robertson, but he could not do half the defensive duties that Robertson did. What a signing he was. And for £8 million British pounds, you cannot go wrong. In at number 5, I've gone with quite a peculiar pick, but a player who, in my opinion, was Liverpool's most important player between 2019 and 2021. And that man goes by the name of Fabinho. What a signing. He was so influential on this Liverpool team. And when I say he was our most important player during those couple of years, you cannot disagree with me. You simply can't. I'll explain why. So, Fabinho was signed from Liverpool back in 2018. That's 6 months during his first season. He was a bit up and down. People were questioning, is he the right man for the job? But Liverpool was still churning out results. It wasn't really an issue. We thought, well, worst comes to us, we'll just sell Fabinho because it doesn't look like we need him. And then during that second half of 18-19, he started to state his claim. It was really when he came on for Henderson away in the Allianz Arena when Hendo got injured, and we really started to see Fabinho's class. And from there onwards, he became a mainstay on Jurgen Klopp's side. And in the title-winning season, he was truly phenomenal. He would just break up every counter-attack that a team had, whether that be through a tactical foul or just straight out wiping out the player and getting a yellow card. He was so good at stopping counter-attacks. He perfectly shielded the backline and offered that defensive protection. And just what a player he was. And for around 40 million, you simply can't go wrong. He was probably the best DM on the planet during those peak years. That's how good he was. And during the COVID season, when he was shifted to centre-back, it proved how much we missed him in midfield, because we did struggle that season. But once Fabinho shifted back into midfield, as well as Henderson, and we had Nat Phillips and Reece Williams at the back, our form picked up massively. Fabinho was so influential, and it was really sad to see him go last summer. The only reason I was less sad was because he was tailing off. His final season at Liverpool was really poor, and we got around 40 million for him. And at the age he was, which I think was 29, 30, and his legs looked like he was gone, it was really good, and it was a really right time to sell him. But yeah, it was really sad to see him go because he was such an influential player under Klopp. And I really think if we would have had prime Fabinho in the Liverpool team this season, we would have won the title. And yes, people will be saying, what on earth are you on about, Zach? You said that about Jota, and don't you think scoring goals was your problem? Yes, it was, because we did miss chances within those big moments. But if we didn't concede as many goals, we wouldn't have to kill games off all the time. Fabinho would have been the expert player to shield the backline. Yes, Endo can do a decent job, but he's not great. And McAllister, that isn't his natural position. Fabinho would shield the backline perfectly and spray passes out to the left and right and help build up attacks, which Endo does struggle with. But yeah, Fabinho, what a signing. I absolutely adored the fellow when he was at his best. And yeah, that's why he was nicknamed the Lighthouse, because he would just sweep up every ball. In at number 4, I had to go with the Senegalese international, Sadio Mane, and this man will just never get displaced from the Liverpool team. He started life out at Liverpool on the right-hand side, then when Salah came in his second season, he got moved to the left. Then when Luis Diaz came in 2022 and was playing better than Mane out on the left wing, where did Mane go? Not the bench. No, not the bench. He played centrally over Diogo Jota and Roberto Firmino, who are natural centre forwards. That's how good Mane was. He was a complete player. He could score with his left. He could score with his right. He could score with his head. He was strong and physical. He was quick. He was an ultimate pressing machine. And at his best, he was one of the best players on the planet. A truly brilliant player. 120 goals he scored for Liverpool, and when he cost less than 40 million and you're getting a man who scored you 120 goals, that is value for money at its finest. A brilliant player, a player who, since he's left, we've never really replaced him. Nunes and Gakpo haven't lived up to the same heights as Mane at all. They haven't replicated nowhere near the form that Mane showed during his time at Liverpool. But as you can see, replacing a player like that would not be easy. A player who can play all three positions to a high level, who is intelligent, who is an ultimate presser, and who always gives you 110%. And that was Sadio Mane in a nutshell. What a player. And you may say, well, how can he go number 4 if he's this terrific player? Well, 3, 2 and 1, and I think you know who they are the most integral players and the most integral buys of the Jurgen Klopp era. And that perfectly segues me onto my third pick, and in at number 3, I went with Alisson Becker. So, Jurgen Klopp and Liverpool signed Alisson in the summer of 2018 for a fee just shy of £70 million. And everyone was saying that is a ridiculous amount of money to play for a goalkeeper. And yes, you were right, because he was largely unproven, and you probably would spend that money on a striker or a midfield player or a player who is going to contribute to you going forward. But to be an elite team, you've got to have an elite goalkeeper. So Klopp was strategic, along with the scouting team and the coaching staff, and they went out and signed the best in the business. And he has been the best in the business since he put pen to paper at Liverpool. What a buy he was. I remember back in 2018 in the Champions League, during his first season in fact, he had that key save against Napoli in the group stage. We were 1-0 up. If Napoli would have scored, we would have gone out in the group and we wouldn't qualify for the knockouts. But Alisson came up with a brilliant save against Milik, which brought us through to the knockout stages. And as you know, we went on to win the Champions League that season, showing how pivotal Alisson was, and he was man of the match in the final. Just what a perfect buy. A goalkeeper that you sign in the summer window who effectively wins you the Champions League on his own. Yes, obviously the Barcelona game was in there, but in terms of being Mr. Consistent throughout, that's what he was. Yes, 70 million was a lot of money, like I keep saying, but it was money well spent. We've got the best goalkeeper in the world. We've had him for so many years. And yeah, what a signing it was. So in at number 2, who did I pick? Did I pick Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah, or someone else entirely? I went with Virgil van Dijk, and this man has been an absolute colossus since he signed for Liverpool back in January 2018 for a fee of £75 million. And at the time, there were a lot of eyebrows raised because people were saying, you're paying £75 million for a defender. Are you nuts? How on earth can you pay in excess of £70 million for a player who does not contribute to the goals going forward? They're all laughing now because they would have really wished their club would have happily spent £75 million on Van Dijk, especially the likes of Man United, because they would have been in a much better situation if they would have signed a Dutchman back then. But phew, we don't have to worry about that because he signed for Liverpool, he signed for my team, and he had a monumental impact. Scored on his debut against Everton, a brilliant header, and he was absolutely colossus throughout. He was just so good, and he just went from strength to strength. When he signed, that first 6 months, he got us to the Champions League final. He was that important that he made us that extra bit harder to beat, which sort of propelled us on past Roma, past Man City, and all the way on to Real Madrid. And the season that followed was just absolutely off the scale. I had never seen a centre-back reach that level that Van Dijk did during 2018-2019. He was elite. He did not have a weakness to his game. You cannot describe one weakness that Van Dijk had to his game that season. He was quick. He was strong. He would win all of his aerial duels. He was competent on the ball. He had a brilliant passing range. He was brilliant in the challenge. He was a leader. The list goes on and on. Van Dijk was the perfect defender that year, and he didn't get injured as well. What more could you want? He was literally the perfect defender. So much so that I'm losing my voice. But yeah, irrespective of that, you get what I'm saying. Van Dijk was an elite defender that year, the best peak I've seen from a centre-back when watching football. And then the season that followed, Liverpool clinched the league, and he was monumental once again. When he did his ACL, that was just horrific because we missed him massively that season. And then when he came back during the 21-22 season, yes, he hit the ground running straight away, but he wasn't quite as good as he was the season prior. 22-23, he dropped off, but then this season he's come back to almost his best again, and he's been absolutely monumental. And I think if you'd have had a steady and regular centre-back partner next to him this season, and if he would have had prime Fabinho in front of him, Liverpool would have won the league because he was defending on his own at times. That's how good he's been this season. But yeah, those 2 years, from 2018 to 2020, I have never seen a centre-back reach that level. He was absolutely colossus. So my number 1 pick has scored 211 goals in 349 matches for Liverpool, while also registering 89 assists. So not only is he a fantastic goal scorer, he is also a proficient playmaker as well. And that man goes by the name of Mohamed Salah. What a man, what a player, what an amazing set of stats. And the fact that he cost less than 40 million as well just proves why he should be number 1 even more. Van Dijk and Salah, they're so close in terms of their impact at Liverpool. You could almost make a case for either or for being number 1. but Van Dijk cost 75 million and he missed the season through an ACL injury, whereas Salah cost 36.9 million, that was his initial fee, and he has not missed one season at Liverpool. He barely misses a game. I think he's had, what, 2 or 3 injuries in his time at Liverpool, and he has been there for 7 years. That is absolutely monumental. And what do they say? Availability is the best ability. And when you partner that with his brilliant goal scoring ability, his proficient playmaking ability, and his ability to defend when his team needs him to, as well as press effectively in a front three, Mohamed Salah is worth his weight in gold. What a player he has been, and yes, he has taken a dip in form this season, especially near the latter part, but that does not take away anything from what he has done in a Liverpool shirt. He has easily been Jurgen Klopp's best signing for Liverpool, and that is no debate. Comment down below if you agree or disagree with me, even though I just told you it's not a debate. I'd like to hear your opinion. Tell me your top 10, tell me your top 5, tell me your best Liverpool signing under Jurgen Klopp. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe for more content just like this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.